But I can explain everything. I was on my way to the airport and then...
Yeah, I know, and you ran into a bus.
That was in Rio. This time it was Cartier's.
Another bracelet?
These stars may have shone brightly on the silver screen, but off camera, their behavior was far from glamorous. Without further ado, here are the 10 biggest jerks in Hollywood history, decided by you.
Don't be angry, you dear little man. I won't do it again. You promised not to be angry. I might let you take those pictures we mentioned.
Weigh in.
Number 1, Bing Crosby. Did you know that behind Bing Crosby's smooth voice and charming demeanor, there were whispers of a darker side? Some say he could hit the high notes, but also hit below the belt. Rumors swirled about his sharp tongue and icy demeanor when the cameras stopped rolling. Bing Crosby, known for his smooth voice and timeless songs, had a bad side that many didn't see. Despite his charming persona on screen, behind the scenes, Crosby was rumored to be one of Hollywood's biggest jerks. From his alleged mistreatment of colleagues to his tumultuous personal life, Crosby's complexities make him a compelling figure in Hollywood history. On top of our list is none other than the legendary Bing Crosby. Ah yes, that smooth crooner who serenaded millions with his velvet voice. But wait, there's more to this story than meets the eye. Step into the spotlight and there he is, Bing Crosby, the legendary crooner who made hearts swoon with his mellifluous tunes. Yet peel back the layers and an unexpected narrative unfolds. Unbeknownst to many, Crosby's personal life was far from the harmonious image portrayed on the silver screen. With Bing, behind closed doors, darkness lurked. His own son, Gary Crosby, lifted the veil in his bombshell memoir, Going My Own Way. Imagine growing up in the shadow of a Hollywood icon, only to face weekly weigh-ins and even beatings if the scale dared to tip. Shocking, isn't it? Gary Crosby's revelations shattered the illusion of the perfect family, exposing the sinister side of fame. It just goes to show fame and fortune don't always come hand in hand with kindness. Gary Crosby's bombshell revelations not only exposed the dynamics within the Crosby family, but also lifted the veil on the darker aspects of fame itself. The shocking revelations force us to reconsider the age-old adage that fame and fortune accompany benevolence. In the case of Bing Crosby, it becomes evident that the spotlight can cast both a warm glow and a chilling shadow, revealing the complexities that lie beneath the surface of Hollywood stardom. Even with this sad reality to his life, Bing was respected by a lot of people. He was noted for emphasizing both text and music in his iconic songs, as well as his talent as an actor and performer. And we wouldn't have the most iconic performance of a Christmas song, White Christmas. When Bing Crosby died, the world lost one of the most beloved performers of the 20th century. That's how big his impact was. Number 2, Marlin Brando. Marlin Brando, known for his legendary performances on screen, also carried a reputation for being a controversial figure off-screen. Despite his immense talent, Brando's behavior often landed him in hot water with colleagues and the public alike. From his demanding attitude on set to his tumultuous personal life, Brando's actions have left a lasting mark on Hollywood history. As fans vote on the 10 biggest jerks in Hollywood history, Brando's different personalities are sure to spark debate and intrigue. Ah, Hollywood, the land of dreams, where stars shine bright but egos shine brighter. Brando, the perfect example of talent and controversy rolled into one, left a trail of chaos on and off the screen. From his diva demands on set to his scandalous romantic escapades, Brando's larger-than-life persona earned him a top spot on our list. Brando's charisma often clashed with his colleagues, leaving a trail of anecdotes about his sharp wit and occasional cruelty. He wasn't one to mince words or spare feelings, which added to his mystique. Some whispered about his disdain for authority and his penchant for challenging the status quo. Marlo had a reputation for being as enigmatic as the characters he portrayed on screen. While his talent was undeniable, stories also circulated about his demeanor behind the scenes. Some say he had a knack for stirring up controversy with his sharp tongue and unpredictable behavior. Did you know Brando once slapped cue cards on his co-stars' foreheads? Talk about method acting gone wild. And let's not forget his legendary defiance of Hollywood norms that left studio heads quaking in their boots. Plus, love was Brando's playground, and oh, what a playground it was. From whirlwind romances to scandalous affairs, Brando's heart knew no bounds. Rita Moreno, you lucky lady. But hey, who needs monogamy when you're Marlon Brando, right? Let's not forget Brando's foray into the world of politics either. From speaking out against the death penalty to advocating for civil rights, Brando used his fame to shine a light on important issues. The controversy reached its peak when Brando accused the Oakland police of murder during the funeral of a 17-year-old Black Panther. The aftermath? A whopping $26 million libel lawsuit filed by the Oakland Police Officers Association. But yes, whether he was railing against the death penalty or taking on the Oakland Police Officers Association, Brando wasn't afraid to ruffle feathers and shake things up. Number 3. Zaja Gabor. Zaja Gabor, the Hungarian-American actress and socialite, was often surrounded by an air of glamour and charm. However, whispers of her being a tad mean behind the scenes added an intriguing layer to her public persona. Some who crossed paths with her claimed that her sharp wit could cut through the thickest of airs, leaving a lingering sense of unease. Zaja's legacy extends beyond her 9 marriages and 7 divorces. She wasn't afraid to be controversial, openly expressing her views on marriage, money, and, of course, housekeeping. Diamonds are a girl's best friend and dogs are a man's best friend. Now, you know which sex has more sense, she once quipped. Her words were her power, shaping her persona and attracting fans who appreciated her unfiltered authenticity. But let's not forget that Zaja wasn't always an angel. She had her fair share of moments as an, well, let's call it like it is, a diva. But what set her apart was that she never pretended to be anything else. In a world where celebrities often wear masks, Zaja was refreshingly honest about her flaws. As we look back at a 2007 Vanity Fair profile, we find a mix of sadness, disturbance, and laughter, showcasing her ability to find humor in the absurdity of her life. If you look into it a bit deeper, you'll uncover some of Zaja's more notorious moments. From demanding wheelchair-bound audience members to be relocated during a theater intermission, to her refusal to keep her dogs in travel kennels on a flight, Zaja's antics were headline-worthy. And let's not forget the bizarre altercation with law enforcement during a traffic stop, where she blamed her Hungarian temper for the clash. Despite her complicated life, Zaja Gabor remains an unforgettable figure in the list of divas in celebrity history. What truly defined Zaja was her unapologetic spirit. She didn't conform to society's expectations of how a woman should behave. While some might see her as controversial or even outrageous, others admire her for breaking the mold. Zaja lived life on her own terms, refusing to be boxed in by societal norms or Hollywood stereotypes. In a world where conformity was prized, she stood out as a beacon of individuality. Love her or hate her, you couldn't ignore her, and that's what made her truly iconic. Number 4. Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby, once beloved for his humor and charm, faced accusations of being mean behind the scenes. Behind the laughter and warmth he projected on TV, some people claimed he could be quite tough and unpleasant in real life. The contrast between his public image and alleged private behavior added a layer of intrigue to the story, leaving many wondering about the complexities of the person behind the iconic smile. In Hollywood, few figures have fallen from grace as dramatically as Bill Cosby. Once celebrated as America's dad for his wholesome portrayal on The Cosby Show, Cosby's legacy took a dark turn amid shocking allegations of sexual assault. Fans who once adored this wholesome image were left shocked and disappointed by the disturbing revelations surrounding Cosby. The allegations, spanning decades, tarnished his reputation and led to his conviction in 2018. Hold on to your seats, because the Pennsylvania Supreme Court overturned Cosby's conviction on indecent assault. How? Well, it turns out there was a non-prosecution agreement that the actor had struck with a prior state prosecutor. Talk about a legal loophole. But don't get too excited for a Cosby comeback. Industry experts say it's unlikely. By 2021, in a stunning reversal of fortune for the comedian once known as America's Dad, Pennsylvania's highest court overturned Bill Cosby's sexual assault conviction and released him from prison on Wednesday. The court ruled that the prosecutor who brought the case was bound by his predecessor's agreement not to charge Cosby. Cosby even flashed the V for Victory sign to a helicopter overhead as he walked into his suburban Philadelphia home after serving nearly 3 years of a 3 to 10 year sentence for hurting Temple University athletic director Andrea Constand in 2004. How can a man with such a grave mistake be freed? Despite his release, Cosby's comeback prospects are grim. We spoke to Howard Bragman, a PR strategist and crisis manager who represents one of Cosby's victims. Bragman made it clear, there's no Cosby reunion, no Vegas residency, and definitely no new Jell-O endorsements. Why? Because, as Bragman puts it, the world still sees Cosby as guilty for the heinous crimes he was charged with. It's safe to say Cosby's Hollywood legacy is forever tarnished. Bragman drew a chilling parallel, likening Cosby's situation to another infamous case, O.J. Simpson. Both were released on technicalities, and Bragman predicts Cosby will live a life reminiscent of Simpson's, marked by public skepticism and disapproval. Talent agencies, TV networks, and movie studios are steering clear of Cosby. Why? Because the crime he was convicted of is in stark contrast to the wholesome image he once portrayed. In Hollywood, image is everything, and Cosby's tarnished reputation is a deal breaker for many. Number 5. Gene Kelly. When you think of Gene Kelly, what comes to mind? The singing and dancing extraordinaire, right? A Hollywood darling of the post-war era, Kelly is often remembered as an all-around stand-up guy with a spotless reputation. But hold on, because there's more to this story than meets the eye. Gene Kelly, the iconic dancer and leading man of the golden age of cinema, may have dazzled audiences with his fancy footwork, but behind the scenes, he was far from the gentleman he portrayed on screen. He was celebrated for his magnetic performances in classics like Singin' in the Rain and On the Town, which was the epitome of post-war American optimism. But as the saying goes, the brightest stars cast the darkest shadows. Stories circulate about how he could be tough on those he worked with, demanding perfection and showing little patience for mistakes. Some of his co-stars and crew members whispered tales of his sharp tongue and high expectations. Kelly's perfectionism and demanding nature were notorious in Hollywood circles. Reports of his tyrannical behavior on set, particularly towards his co-star Debbie Reynolds, paint a troubling picture of the man behind the musical magic. Reynolds, just 19 years old at the time, found herself at the mercy of Kelly's relentless criticism and intimidation. Behind the scenes of Singin' in the Rain, Kelly's paternalistic streak veered into overbearing territory, leaving Reynolds in tears and physical exhaustion. Beyond the spotlight, Kelly's insecurities and competitive nature surfaced. His paternalistic streak, while portraying a loving partner, often bordered on overbearing. Hollywood lore suggests that Kelly's relentless drive led to the demise of both personal and professional relationships. Despite his on-screen success in hits like On the Town and Singin' in the Rain, Kelly struggled to forge lasting connections offset due to his lesser-known fragile temper. But it wasn't just Reynolds who felt the sting of Kelly's ego. His co-director and longtime collaborator, Stanley Donen, described Kelly as a cruel taskmaster, whose off-screen demeanor mirrored his on-screen intensity. The iconic Singing in the Rain presented its own set of challenges. Reynolds, in her memoir Unsinkable, painted a picture of Kelly as a self-obsessed Hollywood star. He consistently criticized her during rehearsals, never offering a word of encouragement. The grueling physical demands of the dance numbers like Good Morning took a toll on Reynolds, leading to days of rest with bleeding feet and exhaustion. With all these revelations, it's clear that despite his status as Hollywood's darling, Kelly's insecurities and competitive nature often alienated those around him. His impact as a personality and force for social change remained stagnant throughout his career. His self-obsession and dictatorial attitude serve as a stark reminder of the industry's archaic values, challenging the pristine image he projected in front of the camera. Contrary to his charming and graceful on-screen persona, whispers of Gene Kelly's behind-the-scenes demeanor being a bit more complex have circulated. While he dazzled audiences with his incredible dance moves and charisma, some insiders suggest that off-camera, Kelly could be a bit demanding and meticulous. It's as if the man who effortlessly danced in the rain had a different tempo when the cameras weren't rolling. The intriguing duality between his on-screen charm and rumored off-screen intensity adds an unexpected layer to the legend of Gene Kelly, making him more than just a Hollywood sweetheart. But why did this acclaimed entertainer have such a reputation? Was it the pressure of perfectionism or something deeper within him? Number 6. Bette Davis. Bette Davis, the Hollywood legend, had a reputation for being as sharp as the roles she portrayed on screen. Some say she had a tongue as quick as a whip and a glare that could freeze a summer day. Behind the glamour and the fame, there was a mystique about her. They whispered tales of her sharp remarks cutting through the air like knives in a silent room. Her wit was legendary, but so was her bite. They say she spared no one from her icy gaze, not even the biggest stars of her time. But perhaps, behind the veil of her demeanor, there lay a story untold. Perhaps, beneath the surface of her biting words, there was a vulnerability that only added to her mystique. This leading lady wasn't just known for her stellar performances. She was also famous for her fiery spirit. When Hollywood tried to dub her as Bettina Dawes, she put her foot down, refusing to be stuck with a name that sounded like it belonged in a furniture store. Davis wasn't just about looks. She fought tooth and nail for realism in her roles, portraying characters as flawed and broken as she was herself. Her autobiography reveals a relentless pursuit of perfection, both on and off screen. But her drive for excellence came with a price, as her personal life saw its fair share of ups and downs, including 4 marriages that fizzled out like last week's box office flop. Bette Davis wasn't just another pretty face in the 1930s and 1940s. In an era where women were expected to be nothing more than eye candy or homemakers, Davis shattered the glass ceiling, demanding meaty roles that showcased her talent. She refused to compromise her integrity for fame, choosing scripts and directors that spoke to her soul. Whether she was playing a substance-addicted countess or a ruthless, ambition-driven diva, Davis brought an authenticity to her characters that left audiences spellbound. What set Bette Davis apart was her willingness to embrace the darker aspects of humanity. Unlike her contemporaries, she wasn't afraid to portray unsavory characters with unapologetic gusto. From her addiction-riddled roles to her chilling portrayal in Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, Davis breathed life into characters that oozed complexity and depth. Her performances weren't just acting. They were a masterclass in raw emotion and unfiltered talent. Known for her diva-like demands, Davis was unapologetic about her pursuit of perfection. Whether it was her insistence on the right lighting, precise camera angles, or multiple takes to nail a scene, Davis's dedication to her craft often clashed with the more traditional Hollywood practices of her time. Some called it demanding, others labeled it professionalism. Regardless, Bette Davis left an indelible mark as a diva who refused to compromise when it came to delivering her best performance. At least some good came out of it. Bette Davis's influence extended far beyond the fame in Hollywood. Her impact on the industry can still be felt today. Not only did she break barriers for women in film, but Davis also championed for better roles, equal pay, and artistic integrity. Number 7. Errol Flynn. Errol Flynn, one of the most handsome Hollywood stars of the 1930s and 1940s, was known for his dashing looks and adventurous roles on screen. However, behind the scenes, whispers circulated about Flynn's off-screen behavior, painting a less glamorous picture. Some tales suggest that Flynn had a mean streak, with stories of his sharp tongue and occasional arrogance. His charisma on-screen often clashed with a more complex personality off-screen. Despite his charming public image, there were moments when Flynn's interactions with others left a bitter taste. While Flynn's life was filled with daring exploits and romantic escapades, there were instances where his behavior was less than exciting. These glimpses into a darker side added an intriguing layer to the legendary actor, reminding us that even the most charming figures can harbor shadows beneath their glamorous facade. Think of a man who oozes charm like it's going out of style. Smooth talking, devilishly handsome, and oh, so dangerous. That's Errol Flynn for you, folks. He wasn't just another pretty face, because he was the prime example of Hollywood's golden boy. But behind those piercing eyes lurked a darker side, a side that earned him a spot on our list today. Errol Flynn wasn't your typical heartthrob. No, he was the guy your mother warned you about, the one who could charm the socks off anyone with just a wink and a smile. But beneath that suave exterior lay a man who knew exactly how to play the game. Flynn was the master of seduction, a textbook womanizer who left a trail of broken hearts wherever he went. On screen, Flynn was a different beast altogether. He wasn't your typical Hollywood tough guy. Instead, he wielded swords with the grace of a dancer and charmed audiences with his undeniable charisma. But it was this duality that truly captivated audiences. He was the rogue with a heart of gold, the hero we all wanted to root for. But behind the stories of Tinseltown lay a darker truth. Flynn's life was marred by scandal and controversy, none more infamous than his trial for statutory rape. Despite being acquitted, the shadow of suspicion never truly left him, and he descended into a downward spiral of alcoholism and despair. And if that wasn't enough, Flynn's exploits extended far beyond the silver screen. He found himself entangled in the harsh realities of colonialism, recruiting indigenous men for labor and facing the dangers of tribal conflict. But when his expedition was ambushed, Flynn found himself fighting for his life, charged with murder in a trial that would test his wit and courage. Errol Flynn, Hollywood's ultimate bad boy, a man whose charm could light up a room, but whose actions left a trail of destruction in their wake. Number 8. Bob Hope. Did you know that behind Bob Hope's famous smile and jokes, some say there was a shadow of meanness? While he was loved by many for his comedy, there were whispers about his sharp tongue and his knack for cutting remarks. Some folks who worked with him whispered tales of his biting humor, which sometimes left others feeling stung. Despite his charming persona on screen, it seems Bob Hope had a side that wasn't always so sunny. It's a reminder that sometimes the brightest smiles can hide the darkest secrets. Bob Hope, hailed as the entertainer of the 20th century, dazzled audiences with his humor and charisma. But behind the glimmering lights of old Hollywood lurked a darker side. Bob Hope showed his versatility throughout his remarkable career. The Hollywood comedian racked up nearly 100 acting credits, hosted the Academy Awards 19 times, and rose to the peak of the American stand-up comedy industry. Before becoming one of television and film's biggest stars, Bob was a vaudeville performer looking for his big break. Leslie Towns Hope, who was born in 1903, starred in 6 short comedies between 1935 and 1936. When Hope bid farewell in 2003 at the remarkable age of 100, his legacy was marred by controversy. Reports surfaced of his sexist and homophobic remarks, tarnishing his once pristine image. But let's rewind to the golden age of Hollywood, where Hope's partnership with Bing Crosby sparked laughter and joy on the silver screen. Their chemistry in films like Road to Singapore captivated audiences worldwide. The artist was well noted for his work with Bing Crosby, particularly the lucrative Road to franchise. The Hollywood duo's vaudeville background helped them form a close bond with one another. Crosby died in 1977 of a heart attack, leaving Bob sad. "If friends could have been made for each other, I would have asked for one just like Bing," he remarked of his late friend. "I miss him." Again, behind the scenes, the laughter faded into whispers of rivalry and scandal. Reports emerged of soap suds fights and backstage antics, much to the dismay of directors and crew members. And then there's the tale of Dolores Reed, a captivating beauty who bewitched Hope during his marriage to another woman. Talk about a scandal fit for the tabloids. But here's the kicker. Hope claimed he tied the knot with Dolores months before his divorce, making him America's beloved bigamist. Hollywood truly has its fair share of drama, doesn't it? Bob Hope starred in numerous movies, hosted the Academy Awards multiple times, and became an iconic figure in American popular culture. He passed away in 2003 at the age of 100, leaving behind a lasting legacy in the world of entertainment. Number 9. Mickey Rooney. On screen, Mickey Rooney portrayed the charming kid next door, but behind the scenes, there was more to this Hollywood legend than meets the eye. Mickey was an American actor, producer, radio entertainment, and vaudeville performer. In a career spanning nearly 9 decades, he appeared in more than 300 films and was one of the last surviving stars of the silent film era. He was actually the top box office attraction from 1939 to 1941 and one of the best paid actors of that era. At the height of a career marked by declines and comebacks, Rooney played Andy Hardy in a series of 16 films in the 1930s and 1940s that epitomized the mainstream American self-image. Mostly known for his outstanding career spanning nearly his entire life, Rooney's journey was nothing short of extraordinary. Starting as a child performer in vaudeville, he rose to stardom in his teenage years with iconic roles like Andy Hardy. However, as time went on, Rooney faced a decline in his career. Too old for juvenile roles and considered ugly by industry standards, he embraced character acting in films like The Black Stallion and It's a Mad, 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 Mad World. Despite his undeniable talent, Rooney never quite reached the heights of his early years again. There have been accounts and anecdotes suggesting that Mickey Rooney, the legendary actor known for his roles in classic films like Breakfast at Tiffany's and as Andy Hardy in the Andy Hardy film series, could sometimes exhibit mean or difficult behavior. Throughout his career, there were reports of Rooney's volatile temperament and conflicts with colleagues and family members. Some of these accounts highlight instances where Rooney could be demanding, temperamental, or even abusive, particularly in his personal relationships and dealings with those around him. Rooney's personal life, which included retreated trips to the altar, was as epic as his on-screen performances. His first wife, actress Ava Gardner, was regarded as one of Hollywood's most attractive ladies. In June 2012, Mickey split permanently and officially from his eighth wife. January, in 2011, Rooney filed elder abuse and fraud charges against his stepson, Christopher Aber, and his wife. At Rooney's request, the Superior Court issued a restraining order against Abers, ordering them to stay 100 yards away from Rooney, Mickey's stepson Mark Rooney, and Mark's wife Charlene. Rooney summoned the courage to break his silence and testify before the Senate in Washington, D.C., recounting his own sad experience of abuse in an effort to live a tranquil, fulfilled life and help those who may be suffering in silence. It's sad to see it had to get to that. In his final years, Rooney released his autobiography, Life is Too Short. Rather than focusing on his career's highs and lows, the book took an unexpected turn, delving into his personal exploits and revealing intimate details about other Hollywood stars. Rooney's revelations added fuel to the already blazing rumors within the industry. But let's not forget that Mickey Rooney, with over 300 roles in TV and film, was not your average Hollywood heartthrob. He was married 8 times, filed for bankruptcy twice, and had a penchant for the high life, drinking, partying, and racing. Yet his resilience and sense of humor were the hallmarks of a man who lived life on his terms. As the world grapples with the reality of Rooney's tarnished reputation, his once gleaming star begins to fade into obscurity. Number 10. Jerry Lewis. Known for his slapstick comedy and immense charitable work, Lewis's fame soared to incredible heights. But behind the laughter, a darker side emerged. He became notorious for his difficult interviews, disparaging comments, and controversial fundraising tactics. Lewis, once adored by fans, found himself in the crosshairs of criticism. Lewis's public persona was a mix of contradictions, leaving many puzzled by the man behind the laughter. While he dedicated countless hours to charity, raising billions for muscular dystrophy research through his telethons, his methods drew criticism. Some saw his tactics as manipulative, exploiting pity for those affected by the disease. Despite the controversies, Lewis remained confident, asserting that the end justifies the means. But this staunch defense only fueled the fire of his detractors, who saw him as self-righteous and out of touch with modern sensibilities. Amidst the chaos of his public life, Lewis grappled with personal demons, including his addiction to painkillers. His reliance on medication to cope with chronic pain mirrored the tragic trajectory of many comedic icons before him. The pressure to perform and maintain his larger-than-life persona took on a physical toll and mental well-being. Despite attempts to seek help, Lewis struggled to break free from the grips of addiction, a battle that played out against the backdrop of his waning career and public scrutiny. Lewis's career took a downturn in the 70s after a controversial film, The Day the Clown Cried, never saw the light of day. His addiction to painkillers mirrored the decline in his career, revealing the toll of years of physical humor. But it doesn't end there. Lewis's comments about women in comedy raised eyebrows, with Entertainment Weekly quoting him as seeing women as a producing machine that brings babies in the world. On top of that, many people disliked him. The late Jerry Lewis wasn't just a comedic genius. He was also embroiled in a bitter feud with trailblazing comedian Joan Rivers. The tension began when Lewis appeared on Rivers' show in 1968. Despite Rivers' starstruck demeanor, the encounter left her with a bitter taste. Rivers later revealed Lewis's diva-like demands and abrupt departure, setting the stage for a decades-long feud. Fast forward to the 80s, and the feud escalated during Lewis's annual Labor Day telethon. Rivers was appalled by Lewis's callous remarks about a dying child, leading her to vow never to participate again. Lewis, in turn, accused Rivers of spreading negativity about him to the press, igniting a war of words that continued even after Lewis's passing. In a shocking turn of events, Lewis went public with a letter he claimed to have written to Rivers. In this ominous letter, he threatened violence if she ever discussed him, his career, or his family again. Rivers, not taking the threat lightly, hired bodyguards for protection, turning this Hollywood feud into a spectacle that would be remembered for years to come. And there you have it, folks. The 10 biggest jerks in Hollywood history as voted by you. Who surprised you the most? Comment below. Stay tuned for more entertaining content. See you next time.